Well, if you're not a paid subscriber, hey, there's like 5,000 people listening right now because they all paid. You're live right now, you cheap fuck. No, we're back on. We're back on. All right, I don't know what the hell happened. My internet signal just went out and came back on, and here we are. I don't know. That's the first time in the history, and we've never been hardwired. We've always been wireless, and we've gone hours and hours and hours. I don't know.
God. He's telling me, say, son, don't say too much.
Yeah, wait, are we still on? Okay, we're still on. Either that or we're getting too damn popular and we're getting shadow banned. I don't know. Probably not shadow banned. All right, so what were we talking about now? I'm sorry.
So you were asking me, since the cameras,
yeah, right.
Anymore, and I was just saying, like, I'm not disagreeing with that. It's going to definitely be harder for me to track down one deer in particular, as well as I used to.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, like I was talking about with my book, all these deer that I was, looking at last year that I wasn't shooting, I got the whole season's data, where they daylighted on what day, all that's written down.
Yeah.
And that's what I'll be using this year.
How many years will that book,
it's going to deplete? Well,
when will it start to kind of drop off?
It'll start slowing down,
yeah,
because I ain't got eyes everywhere no more. And
right.
Then in the years to come, it'll be what I personally seen from the tree. So it won't have as many data points.
Right.
But
aren't the offspring of the deer kind of, because I've seen deer. So I killed a deer in an area the year after Randy killed a nice 8-pointer. It was when I killed that 9-pointer, and he was an old deer. They looked so close. It almost was like he's got to be the grandson.
Yeah,
the one that Randy killed the grandson. I killed the grandfather.
Right.
But I mean, because it was all in the same area, and I've seen deer in other areas look similar.
Yeah.
For instance, the two that Randy killed when he tagged out on bucks on the same day. If you look at them, they look very similar. They have very similar genetics. So let's say that your book falls off, will some of them deer still kind of just follow that same pattern?
The deer will still be there.
Yeah.
I might not have as many, like I said, like many data points to prove where they were at on certain days, unless I see them with my own eyes. Like the deers that I'm going to see that are small, and I write down, hey, I saw an 8-pointer at this spot, this time or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
If he was a good one like that, and maybe next year I think he's going to be a big one, then that will help me.
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, that deer was in this area last year. I seen him, I seen the sign. I seen him from the tree a few times. And then the next season, I'll sit there around the same time and see if he's still showing up, if he's still claiming that area, that kind of stuff. But like, man, one thing I hate about it is, like, one thing I love to do was a storyline. So I got a bunch of deers that, that I don't really have any interest in killing, but I can see them year in, year out, like how much bigger they got or whatever.
Right.
And, we nickname them and all that shit. Yeah. Now, I'm going to kill a big deer, and you're going to want to know the story. And I'm like, I was just sitting there hunting.
I thought he might be here.
And he came out, and I killed him.
Yeah. Or the same old story that's like,
cool
the little one came out, and I decided not to shoot him. And then 15 minutes later, the big one come out. And that's cool.
That's not cool.
I like I said in the last podcast, I've never relied on cameras, but I do like getting, especially, I kind of like getting, even with the cell cam, it just kind of keeps you connected to the woods. It gives you an idea. Sometimes the cell cams, screw me because
if you rely on them, like tooth and nail, you're going to want to sit by a particular camera,
right? And I wore a spot out because I know that deer is coming in at 3:00 in the morning, and I just ain't like good enough yet. I ain't been hunting long enough to kind of know, like,
you'll
he's in there at 3:00 in the morning. Means he's not there at 3:00 in the afternoon type of thing. So where's he going and all that, and that takes time. And
those type of people that hunt that way, that's why they kind of about a camera, like kind of down talk them a little bit, which and it's not the camera's fault. I mean, I understand it's tough, like, not to want to sit there because you really would want to shoot this giant deer.
Yeah.
But
everybody, and that's the thing, you ain't a fucking deer hunter if you don't want to shoot. Now, do you care whether or not you go all season and shoot a giant buck or not? I don't believe you if you say you don't, but maybe you don't. But when you fucking do, and the chance that you're hunting over corn, or you're just sitting in one spot and one comes out and you shoot it, you're definitely going to be more stoked over that than a spike. And if you say no to that, I don't believe you. I
It's
just
just
think you're lying. I think
it's
you're
just
just trying to
like
be like original.
it's just like the videos I showed you, the 130-inch deer studs, man, 4.5, 5.5-year-old deer studs,
Yeah.
130, 135-inch,
Yeah.
hoping young deer.
Yeah.
I don't. They ain't done too good for them because I'll dust 200 motherfuckers this year in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's just I knew there were better deer around, so I let them go. I just, like anybody else was doing, take little Snapchat.
But you won't know there are better deer around now without the camera, so maybe you're gonna have to like.
It'll make me more. It'll make me more amped to shooting a 130 instead of waiting on a 150.
So if you don't kill a deer next year, we could just kind of assume that you probably
if
just let some walk,
No, if I don't kill any deer, it's because I don't have cameras. I don't know how to hunt.
You better kill a big one this year.
But here's the downfall.
Well, I always say
the downfall. If or when I kill another big deer, everybody's gonna say, "Oh hell, he had cameras."
He had cameras. Well,
there's nothing I can do about that.
Heavy is the head that wears the crown, brother. You know what I'm saying? I kind of equate this, probably maybe not to the stature, but maybe, I don't know. Caitlin Clark. I never watched basketball. I don't watch organized sports. Even when I watched organized sports, I didn't never watch basketball. But watching what drew me, I'm talking about. What drew me into watching her was all the hate she was getting.
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's just white America, blah blah blah. And I'm like, maybe that's true. I don't know. So I start watching clips, and what got me is a lot of my TikTok feed is Shannon Sharp.
Yeah.
A lot of black platform stuff comes across my feed. It just does.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. So I start seeing a lot of people defending her, like, you motherfuckers, So I started watching it, and I watch her operate, and for a female, she's killing it.
Oh, she's outstanding.
I don't know how many points she's got from the logo. She's like 20 feet behind the 3-point line. So, but I watch her demeanor, and she gets hated on, and it don't phase her.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
She thrives off of it.
She's like, I'm the best. You know what I mean? So
you guys suck.
I mean, if it was me, I'd be out there like this every time I won. Like,
well, I mean, I get it. How my personality is, man. I try to be humble, genuine, and I just try to be somebody that I would, want my kids,
right
to be.
Yeah.
I ain't,
how you want your kid to be the fuck you.
Yeah. I got that. I'm not, you've met my dad. I am my daddy's son. I got the arrogance.
Big time. You guys are more like, bro. I mean, you guys are so close in your personality, the way everything.
I can talk shit with the best of them. I can get on there on them posts and talk shit because I can back it.
Yeah.
But I'm sitting here entertaining fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And I don't get no clout from entertaining idiots.
Yeah.
Now, if it was structural human beings with success like I'm having and stuff, it's different. But it's like going to the fucking elementary school and playing basketball with them. Of course, I'm going to dunk on their ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, like we've talked about, I don't care what you think about me.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody thinks about, and everybody in their own little circles behind closed doors talk shit about everybody.
Yeah.
I don't care what you think.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I don't care that you do that. But what you ain't going to do is get on a public platform and downplay me
and try to attack your sportsmanship, your character.
Yeah, you're going to be correct.
Your what do you call? I just used this word yesterday. I'm so tired. Integrity.
Yeah. You're going to be correct.
You hate on me.
That's fine.
But don't start talking about accusing me of fucking my sister. It's some bullshit.
You're not gonna. Yeah. You're not gonna.
Then you're gonna clap back.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I think honestly
because I didn't do
a lot of shit, but
I didn't do anything to deserve anything like that. I'm nice to everybody. I don't shit talk nobody. I give the flowers. I give the hand claps. Because my success is is there. So why would I downplay anybody?
Well, a lot of it too. I think sometimes people, they pop off on social media and they forget that, like sometimes I'll be in a mood to troll and I'll be on some web page that's in California and it's people from all over the world. I might talk some shit on there. Like, that's why your mama, but
I ain't too sure the relentless Claude won't you just trolling.
Who's the relentless call?
Yeah, that dude that started that topic.
That wasn't me.
Yeah,
I missed all that. Yeah. No. I honestly, I don't fuck around on the page like that. But the thing is, a lot of times guys will just come out and say something, and I want to remind them, like, that we're all here in Fort Bragg. We're all you may run into this guy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like you're talking. I think the internet sometimes is kind of like people say something, and then they get a response back, and they're like, "Oh shit." I wasn't expecting that shit.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like, never mind that manners have kind of gone away in society because Used to be you could if you smack me, let's say like 1881, if you smack the shit out of me and I killed you, I'm justified. I'm not even going to court.
Yeah, yeah.
You're going to witness what happened. Well, he smacked him. Okay, that was so men had manners. They were very respectful because they knew what could happen. If you smacked me and I shot you, well, you're dead.
Yep.
Well, you got a brother. Now my brother, now we can have a whole fucking family feud.
Hatfield McCoy.
Hatfield McCoy. We want to avoid that, so we're just going to say social obediences. Hey, how you doing?
Yeah, man.
Respect each other because the consequences. Now there's no more consequences. So you got little puny ass liberal pukes putting talking shit to you with a camera in your face. Now go online where there's no face to face, where you can't even get hit.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So sometimes that kind of spills over into our page. Not so much. We got a pretty good group.
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah,
and like I said, everybody, that showed up to that little banquet square, everybody's nice, you know what I'm saying? Everybody, like I said, everybody passing out flyers, everybody's checking out everybody's stuff, it was genuinely a good time.
Yeah.
And I understand that I'm not gonna be on top of the mountain forever. Nobody is. But while I'm up here, I'm gonna soak it all in and all that jazz. One day I ain't gonna be able to. Man, my daddy used to kill nice deer year in, year out. Now I could tie it to the tree and something go wrong. It'll break or not. It won't be, whatever. Something happens. But I remember when I was, 12, 13, 14, I could put him in Walmart parking lot and he'd kill 120-inch 8-pointer like it wasn't nothing. Back then those were good deer.
Yeah,
we gradually started killing better and better deer over the years. But I'm just saying, I didn't care where you put him. He was killing it. And now I'm in that little phase and I'm gonna enjoy it like he did when I was a kid.
Hell yeah. I mean, and I'm like the type of person where like a lot of people too, I guess where I'm different than a lot of people. Like a lot of people, you've been to high school.
Absolutely.
Okay. So there's different sects of the high school, and you say you got the I always call them the freaking trench coat mafia kids, and then you've got the captain of the football team. He's got a nice car. He's got the good, best looking girlfriend. He's
got the nice hair, boy.
He's got everything. and so there, there's always hating on him. Like, well, his daddy bought him that car, or they only going out with him because he's playing football. Like, dude's the quarterback. If I look at that, like, if that's what I want to be, what do I need to do to get there? Not fuck him. You know what I mean? Like, fuck him, a rich kid, or he just plays quarterback. You know how hard it is to be a fucking quarterback, even at a high school level.
Absolutely.
That's a hard thing, even for a grown ass. I mean, the mental, So I always have more like respect for guys that are on top, and I'll talk shit like I'm already there, but I'm trying to get there rather than just. A lot of people just look at the deer you kill and they just automatically want to just tear you down and say it's because of cameras or because you're cheating or because you're baiting. I've heard all. I mean, even before I met you, I've heard it all. Whether or not it's true or not, I have no cause to believe
the cameras
it.
Is true, but I don't.
Well, yeah, but the cameras are legal. Were legal, and and like I said, I don't think cameras are. I guess the only case that I could make if I was going to make one against cameras would only be that it is a federal installation with troops.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, I get what
that's all they got to say, and you're kind of like, okay, but when it comes to fair chase and all that, dude. If there wouldn't be a fucking mature buck on Fort Bragg right now.
If the cameras killed them,
everybody
would have.
We discussed, and anybody that's saying, "Oh yeah, now the playing fields are going to be equal." Let's see all them big deer you've been killing before we came in with the cameras. And I say we, like I'm not killing the deer all like that, but before all the cameras came, let's see what deer are. So if they really work, I don't know how many mature. I don't keep up with the stats, but do you know how many like 150 pluses were killed last year?
I'd say. I'd have to go back on the ones that we can prove
10
that were checked. I don't even think that's that
high. All right, so less than 10 out of
5.
Out of how many people hunting and how many man hours of sitting in a tree, and only 5 150s or better were killed last year. We're checked in.
Yeah, that we know about.
I don't know, man. I guess that there may be some people out there that go in and kill a fucking 170 and take it off post and don't. But then you don't get to show it off. I don't know.
Well. Man, I've never been cared about showing my deer off.
Really?
I grew up hunting macaw, and that was one of the best benefits of macaw. All them hunt. If you ever go to my house, like I was telling you, that rack I have in my garage, all them deer that I had scored at Dixie Deer Classic that are 137, 132, 135, blah, 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 128, all this and all that. I never checked them deer and didn't have to because macaw, you didn't have to.
Right, yeah.
You can just kill them.
You do now, though, right? Just to be clear. Okay.
Yeah, I really just started hunting on base, and not macaw in like 2019.
When did they start making you bring them from macaw to check them in?
They don't. They still don't.
You still don't have
You
to.
do not have to take. If I don't, I hope I ain't speaking incorrectly, but
Okay.
I would bet that you still do not have to come from McCall and check your deer in.
Okay. Well,
McCall's the only place.
that's a good question. I mean, I'm not going to pretend like you would think somebody in my
You can if you
capacity
want.
that I would know all the rules. Like people text me all the time and they ask me about the rules. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Call wildlife.
Right, yeah, I know what you mean.
Or they ask me like something that's technical about Bragg, and I'm like, I don't have a
I
clue.
had a ton of people asking me about the camera gossip. Like
Yeah.
I'm the gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
I understand where they're coming from. They're like, well, if anybody know, it would be you. But I'm in a sense, I'm like, well, I got the same information you guys
Right.
got.
Yeah.
I've
Well,
been
even
told.
during that time, I tried to get a little insider information, and I don't think, well, they didn't know until it came out. No one was for sure about how it went down. It wasn't like something that, as far as I could tell, and I don't have an in with those guys at all. No, I don't have none of them on speed dial. I'm friendly with them when I see them, but I don't go in and try to get it either.
Yeah.
Like you would think that this page would have some type of interaction with wildlife because, man, we got 4,000 members.
Well,
You know,
to an extent, I mean, the good guys have interaction with wildlife.
do they? Yeah.
I mean,
Well, guys that have been hunting for a long time, like guys like BT and them.
yeah.
All his
Bishop,
deer
Hutchison,
are up there.
they kind of were the foundation of Bragg, if
Right.
you will.
But what I'm saying is a lot of people would expect that uh like maybe if wildlife wanted to put something out, they would put it out on wildlife and then shoot it over to the Fort Bragg Hunt Club because we have more engagement with the page. And it's just
Well,
not that,
yeah, and they really don't have to because usually if they post anything, somebody
will
I
repost
mean,
it.
it's in minutes. It's literally in minutes.
Yeah. So I always try to put that out there. Like, I'll get text and calls about, some illegal activity. And I'm like, call the provost marshal. We're like, well, I'm going to call wildlife. I said, don't call wildlife. Let them know, but call the provost marshal first and get it logged. And, I think some people may have called the provost marshal, forgot some illegal activity going on. When I say illegal activity, I mean ATVs and people shooting and stuff like that.
There's all kind of shit.
And they might have done it and nothing happened. So moving on in the future, they just don't. They're just like, ain't nobody going to do nothing. But I think it's important that we do. And I say we, like I call them all the time. I let a lot of shit go, but the more that they log it, the more that, I just kind of, I guess the mindset would be that, the captain comes in the morning and he checks the damn log from the night and he's like, ATV. And then like after like 30 days in a row of seeing that, it's like, what the fuck is going on with these ATVs and are we doing anything about it?
Yeah.
Like that would be the hope.
But see, like, why I don't say nothing, like why I mind my business and don't say nothing is I see that side of the story, but I also see a version of the story where they throw their hands up. That's typically what they like to do. And they say, you know what, I'm tired of this shit. And they start going forward and like making our hunting privileges even less.
Yeah,
it's a possibility.
I heard you guys out on that last year. I still don't agree.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know that. I mean,
you got to understand what.
But I get it. No, I get what you're saying.
What the hell do they care about some damn deer?
Well, there are some people that look at deer hunting on Fort Bragg as like MWR. You know what I mean? There are people that care. That forget about us that are civilians now. A lot of us are civilians now. But there's a lot of guys that maybe that they don't have that they live in the barracks and their families live in different states. And a lot of those guys that live in the barracks, a lot of the guys I knew in the Army, their families lived in different states, but their family was like here.
Yeah.
So, a lot of those guys hunted. I didn't hunt back then, but I knew some guys that did. So hunting is like an MWR. Plus it helps. I think it helps with forestry.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It kind of helps manage the land of Fort Bragg because that's why you can walk through Fort Bragg and train without a fucking machete. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I don't know, but
I guess what I was trying to say is like, with so much like crying wolf and so much complaining, what it boils down to, like, and it's coming from the deer hunters.
Yeah.
I could see where they,
maybe, I can see that. Yeah. I can also see like,
I mean, you have to have it. I mean,
I can also see like a scenario where let's say that this year we got cameras and I've already put it out. I don't need to keep putting it out, but so cameras are illegal, corn's illegal.
Yeah.
If we start posting pictures of it, then and somebody's just watching it as like, hey, just keep an eye on these guys. And you're just seeing corn, camera, different posts. It's kind of like, well, these guys are just running amok out there.
Yeah, man, it's Wild West.
Yeah. So I get that aspect of it.
You're kind of just throwing it in the faces of the wrong people.
Right. And
And it's
especially
not all of
now,
it. It's not all of it, man.
I'm worried about what's to come because, like we talked about in the last podcast, if they were to just budget cut and say, "Look, we don't need a wildlife. It's costing too much money." I don't know how these guys are paid or who they work for,
That's right.
but if they are government employees, they tend to cost more than a contractor.
I agree.
And that's I mean,
facts. That's what
and
it
I'm
is.
gonna tell you during there's not a whole lot of difference between a Republican administration and a Democrat administration. The difference is like a couple of percentage in taxes that you actually your money you get to keep. Forget all the trans and all the stuff that they use to blind you while they're making money and spending money. Really, I think in a Donald Trump administration, you got to keep like say 45% of your income, and in a Biden you get to keep about 48. You know what I mean? It's like a couple of percentage points. So anyway, when they do a budget cut, they could look at something like archaic as they see it as wildlife and say, you know what, cut them because those are all federal employees and they're getting benefits and all that stuff, and just contract it out. And somewhere there's a guy right now sitting behind a desk and he's just bidding on everything.
Yep.
He's bidding on. You saw. Remember that?
Have a clue.
Did you see that movie about the gun runners in Iraq? What was it called? Not Lord of War, Dogs of War, or it was what's his name? Noah. Anyway, it's about two guys. The fucking funny guy. I love him. I can't. Now he's all skinny and he surfs. Not Seth Rogen. Anyway, Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill's in it, and Miles Teller, and they're just two guys that they're young 20-year-olds, and all they do is bid on government contracts.
Yeah, I've seen the trailers, but I've never watched.
So when they win the contract, they're like, "Oh shit, what are we going to do?" So they just sub it out to somebody. So I think that might have been what happened at Fort Hood. Did you listen to that podcast by chance?
I did.
You hear all that bullshit?
I did.
You can see that happening, right?
Absolutely.
You can just see it, picture it happening, like just the rules changing.
It's moving in that direction.
And it's moving in that direction, you know? And I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, me and Jonathan Holloway were talking about it today. You know, he hunts up in Iowa a lot. I think you go to Ohio.
He goes to Illinois.
I'm sorry, Illinois.
I go to Ohio, yep.
And I was like, you know, I have access to private land around here. There's spots to hunt. You know, friends of mine have leases up in Ohio, but I just same thing why I don't hunt turkey or squirrel. I like hunting deer and I like hunting on Fort Bragg. If they take that away, man,
you ain't telling me.
Like I can literally go out my neighborhood right now and go down the road, and I'm you know.
You see, I don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
If they take Bragg from me, I'll have to go to like the Jordan game lands.
Yeah, and then it's just a whole
different ballgame.
I don't want.
I can run my motherfucking cameras.
Yeah, you can run your cameras. Then you can start killing big deer again.
Hear the bitches from them.
Yeah, and again, I just don't like rules.
Yeah,
I don't like rules. I don't like regulation. And most of the guys that you know that are big Trump guys. Oh yeah, Trump. Well, or Republicans, they don't like regulation until it's like in their backyard, and then they just want more laws and more rules, and everything they disagree with should be illegal, and it should be my way. And I don't think they realize the tyranny. It's kind of like when they're. I don't mind game wardens, but I've just trained.
I think game wardens are a great thing to have. I really do, but that don't mean the laws have to like all these new enforcements have to come in. Let them be out there and just do your typical license check.
Yeah.
Keep people on.
Oh yeah.
Make sure.
I agree. I just don't. I'm a big so guys get pulled over all the time, and they get searched, and they're like, I wasn't doing nothing wrong. I got nothing to hide. He's just doing his job. I'm like, fuck you. I haven't committed a crime. I haven't given you any probable cause. You're not treating me like a fucking criminal. This is America.
I agree.
We have a constitution that protects me from this, but somehow you've got the power to search my car without a warrant, and I'm just supposed to fucking daddy, thank you. Yeah. I don't like that. It goes against my inner. I don't show out. I'm not stupid. I'm just like, yes sir, okay, whatever.
You'll be able to in a minute.
I'm not gonna be like with my camera talking about give me your badge number, all that bullshit. But I go away from that,
dude.
Disturbed.
I had the game warden at my truck last year, and I was 60 yards from my truck. I could see it clear as day. And he pulled up to it. He checked my range control and all that.
Yeah.
To make sure it's in the dash and all that. And he was getting ready to leave, and I was trying to get his attention. And finally, I blew a grunt tube at him or something, and he heard it. And I was like, "Hey!" And he seen me. I was like, "Come here." He said, "No, you're good." I said, "No, come here." I lowered down my wall. I was like, "I want you to check my license."
You came all the way out here. Check it.
Check it.
This is the one time it's fucking actually.
Yeah, I ain't seen y'all
actually
in
got a
years.
license this year.
I ain't seen y'all in years.
I'm paying for it. Hell yeah.
Check my shit. Hell yeah. I paid $60 for this. Check it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's funny.
It was a good time. And then I seen him, a few more times after that. He don't bother. After that, it don't bother you. Like once he sees you got a license, he knows you're straight. He passes right by.
Yeah, no, I've met game war. I don't know. I've just trained in my head to where if I'm walking in this direction and I see law enforcement, I'm going the other way. I don't care if I'm not doing anything wrong at all. I don't care. I just go the other way.
I'm like that with hunters. I don't want to talk.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's unavoidable. Like they see you and you're being still and they're looking at you. You're like, fuck, you see me. And then you go up there and they're like, Skipper. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know everybody yet. Yeah.
I get that all the fucking time, dude. I don't mind it so much, but I'm not a dick. I mean, a couple of times I've ran into people and I'm in a hurry. Like I need to get in and get out. So some people know how to read a room. Like if I'm talking to you and you're walking out the door and I'm saying, yeah, remember that? Yeah, I'll get up with you, but you keep walking away and turning around. I know you're trying to go, so I'm like, all right, peace.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some people don't. They don't see.
They don't care. They see it.
It doesn't register. Like so, they're just. But I don't mind. I mean, I do what I do. I'm not like a fan. It doesn't happen like I go out every time. But there's been a few times I go to like last time, not today, but the last time I was in academy, some dude said, "Hey, buddy, what's up?" And I just thought he was saying like, "Hey, pal." I forget, what I mean?
Yeah, you got to know.
And I kind of blew him off a little bit, but I didn't blow him off. I was like, hey, how's it going? And I just kept walking. But then I seen him again, and then I was like, are you from the page? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. I apologize. I thought you were saying like, hey, buddy, hey, pal,
Yeah.
But it's a trip. So I don't mind talking to people, obviously. Or else I wouldn't do this if I was trying to be like secretive. But I think it's a trip, man. I enjoy it. I love the fucking Fort Bragg Hunt Club. I think it's cool. We started the good and the bad. Most of my friends now, I like people I would consider friends, like got a flat tire. Brandon got a flat tire today, and he texted me where you were like 10 minutes out, and I don't have jumper cables because I just moved, but I put the post on the page, and like Jim, Jonathan Holloway was like, hey, I'll be there in 25 minutes. Jimmy was like, Jimmy Edgerton or Egerton. I think it's Edgerton. He was willing to go up there. So that's a good thing about the page. You get stuck in the woods or something like that.
Yeah, you got somebody.
Somebody's going to go.
A friend of mine get stuck last year bad. And I got on the page and was like, I snapped a picture of his vehicle, and you got the people like, hey, you can't park there.
Yeah. I might have been one of them.
I was like, well, this is fucking problem. Because I said, look, I got you some help on the way. Yeah. I couldn't do nothing.
Right.
He was stuck. From what I understand, he had somebody come out and they couldn't do something. And then eventually, a couple of people teamed up and got him out. But he was on the frame. It was a bad hole. And, but the page, because of the page.
Well, that's how I met Randy. I don't know how long ago. We might be going on 8 years now, but Randy he shot a deer and chased it into the draw. And then he was dragging it out, but he got lost.
Yeah.
He didn't know which way was which. So he put a post out on the page. And I was already done hunting for the day. I was sitting by the fire. It was like November. It was cold and wet. And I showed the phone to my father-in-law, or ex-father-in-law, who's dead now. But I showed it to him. I was like, "This is jackass."
Right.
And he looked at me with those eyes like, "Come on, man. You can't leave that boy out there." I was like, well, I ain't going out there. But I ended up going out there, and he had already found his way out. But that's how I met Randy through the page. Just about everybody. So.
Yeah, I got to meet some new people at that little scoring thing we had on the 7th. People that you see some.
Randy just said jackass. He's watching. He be acting like he don't watch this shit, but look at him on there. True story.
Yeah, I met Randy sort of kind of at that scoring thing officially. I know of him.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you that one day when we were doing that Osprey thing.
Mm-hmm.
He had shot a deer some years back, and I don't know. It was a good shot.
Oh, it was a one. What was that? Like a one. It was one. What was that, Rand? I don't want to misrepresent. It was a 164. What they measured at? 167. I think
it was huge.
Yeah, it was a good deer.
Yeah.
Randy's a deer hunter, man, and I hate that he's watching now because I'd rather him watch this and like later. But he's up there.
But yeah, the deer I'm talking about, it was just a smaller deer that shot for the meat or whatever, and man, he made a good shot, but I guess it just didn't bleed. I remember seeing the post on Facebook where he was looking for it, and
Oh, the 6-pointer.
yeah,
Yeah. That was years ago. Yeah.
When you said 160s, I was
No.
I was gonna be like, it was a 6 for sure.
No. One I think he shot one in area.
Ooh, he shot a deer. Randy,
He shot a deer.
Randy. Let me finish the story.
Oh, 146. What did I say? 160 something?
Yeah,
146.
that was an 8. That 8 that he had scored was 146. Dude, it was a tank.
That was a tank. Badass deer,
for an 8-pointer to get a score like that. I mean, that's a tank. That 70 shot was a good deer.
Were to get me. You were to get. I don't. You were to.
But anyway,
head? I'm like. What?
But anyway, my dad walked up on that deer, and the only reason why, like, I remembered it because I literally seen the evening before where Randy had made a post. He had shot a buck, and there wasn't no blood. I'm pretty sure that was the story behind it.
Yeah, it was a cross. I think it was a crossbow
shot. The shot was money. Why it didn't bleed, I don't know. And it won't far from where he shot it at. But anyway, my dad had found it, and he had sent me a picture. He was scouting at lunchtime, and he sent me a picture, and I was like, man, I think that's this guy's deer. So I instant messaged him. I was like, hey, sending a picture of it and all. He's like, yeah, that's him. And I just dropped him a pin. And the coyotes had already got to it a little bit, but by the time he got around there, if I'm not mistaken, there was just pretty much like hair and stuff like that. And the deer
I don't even know if he went out there. That
he
deer
might not have did, but
Randy, come on now. Randy shot that deer and walked like 20 yards and was like, nope.
I bet you
can't find him.
I bet you was no further than 100.
He didn't want to break a sweat. He just got his mani pedi. He didn't want to get messed up.
But that was like my first time talking to him, and then I actually talked to him, in person at the scoring thing. I might have talked to him. I think I talked to him. Yeah, I talked to him at the shed that night when I shot Slav. He came up there and we talked a little bit.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, no, he's a good deer hunter. I give him shit and I talk shit. I lean on him a lot. A lot of times I'll find a spot and I think it's a good spot and I'll be like, hey, go in there and check this out on your way.
Let him proofread
it. Yeah. And he'll be like, yeah. And then like last year, that's exactly what happened. And I am going to tell this story. I was like, hey, walk across over there. Check that out. This scrape was tore up, but I was chasing a deer on the other side. And he went in there. He was actually leaving. And he was like, I got to climb it. This thing just got hit. Like, I got to fucking climb it. And he did. And he shot that deer. Then he tells me to go back to that tree. He's like, I'm telling you, there's going to be another big deer there. And I'm just like, no, I'm not going. Because if I do shoot a deer, first of all, the likelihood of seeing another deer in that area for me, in my head, I'm like, that's like as likely as hitting black 17 on your first go. And then I said, if I do kill the deer, I ain't never going to hear the end of it. I'll be like, it could be a fucking 200 class. And I'm going to be proud of you're always going to be there. And he would until the day he died. He'd be like, yeah, I told him to go there. Yeah. But and then he went back and he shot that other deer. But no, I lean on him a lot for that. Because we could be walking through the woods and he'll say, stop. And he'll like, what? He'll like, look down. I'm standing in the scrape. I didn't see it. I walked right into it.
It's amazing how we're all around and never run into each other.
Yeah. Well, Fort Bragg's big.
Oh, absolutely.
But,
like to have pictures of the same deers
and
encounters with the same deers, but never see me. And a lot of it is like, I ain't necessarily saying boundaries, but like, I tend to know, I tend to know where you are, so I just don't go.
Yeah.
And
bullshit. He's lying.
No, I don't.
He goes. He just goes. What Skipper does is, and I would say he's following me around, but maybe I'm wrong. Let me. So
you said follow. You're definitely wrong.
No, not follow. I don't mean follow. Let me just float a hypothetical. So where I'm hunting because of my truck and because we've run into each other that one time. It's about one area.
Cameras and pictures.
And I'm posting pictures of a deer. And you kind of look at the picture and you know where it's at already, and I'm not killing it. So you might go in there hypothetically and say, okay, well, he's here because my climber's there, or I left some sign behind, like one of those scent tags or a camera, and it's like, okay, well, if he's sitting here and he's not killing them, where's this deer going to get around him? So he might be circling around this way. So if I'm going to go in that area and go after that deer or check that deer or see what's behind that deer, this is where I need to be. So social media can help you and it's fun, but it can help you if you know how to do the intel from other people's report, but it can hurt the guy who doesn't know. He's just like, look at this deer I found. Dude, I saw you parked in area JJK. I know you park right there. I'm going to go in there on a Wednesday when you're at work, and I'm going to look around.
I get people like they see my cameras, and they'll put cameras out too, which is fine. It's public land. They'll put cameras out too, I guess, to see, like, well, Skipper's got cameras here. Let's see, what he's looking for, what he's got. And then I'll get, people see my cameras, and I get all these instant messages from all ththese guys. And, most of the time I just send them the picture, of them on my camera. And they're like, hey, I seen your camera at such and such. Or they'll be a little different. They'll say, is this your camera?
But if I were you, I wouldn't respond to none of that, because now they're going to know it's your camera, or they would know, and then they're going to know that they're.
At first, my genuine spirit, I did,
yeah.
But then over time, I just left them on red. And I don't want to be a dickhead.
No, because
it's just the nature of the
game.
Look,
if I was in an area and I knew you, I don't know, maybe you told me you were there, or maybe I saw.
Well, if you do scouting, it's bound to happen.
So if I run into a camera or something, I know it's your climber. And you left
never
it.
See that, but
I'm just saying, anything that let me know that you were there, you were parked there, and I saw you walking out.
Yep.
If I'm in that area, I'm automatically, based on your record, going to think, well, I'm onto something.
And they do, brother. They do.
And they do.
And they will. Pictures of them the next day, where they're walking around checking things out, scouting.
Right.
And they'll hit some cameras.
Yeah.
Like you said, they seen the truck.
But then again, that's kind of the woes of public land. I think that kind of adds to it. It's frustrating. It's frustrating.
Never have you ever heard me get bent out of shape?
No, I haven't.
It doesn't bother me.
I'm not saying you haven't, but I've never.
It doesn't bother me. You can ask the people in my circle. I'll say, hey, once again, stay in your lane, mind your business. I can't control what they got going on. And if they start hunting it and the deer activity changes, then I know why.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, man. What was I going to say? I just had a thought pop into my fucking head, but it went away.
And that's not always the case. Sometimes they go in there, look around, and I never see them again.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
Well, I know what it's like. Like I said, I think I'm going on my.
There's guys out there that's went scouting this year, since they know the cameras ain't allowed, that know where I run cameras.
Yeah.
And they went there and looked at the exact tree that I run a camera on every single year, because they've seen it. They look, and I don't know. They want to comment, they can. The camera's not there.
Right. Okay. No, I like I said, I beat a dead horse on the cameras. I like to have them out there. But it was never something, like I said, me and Randy, I think, how long, I don't know if he's probably still listening, how many years we went were between us. We probably had 10 cameras between us, but only like 3 were deployed at a time, and we'd lose them.
Yeah.
He would move it and be like, no, it needs to be right here. And then I would go looking for it. Couldn't find it. And then like 3 years later, I found it, and I can go, because, the batteries die, but you go back and look at the cameras, and there I am. You can see me looking for it.
I was going to say too, like when you got a group, hunting a group, there's a tribe of us.
Yeah.
If you got 10 cameras, Randy's got 10 cameras, Brandon's got 10 cameras,
and we're all
and
friends,
whoever else is in the clip's got 10, so on and so forth. Next thing you know, you got 60 cameras out there, and collectively, and y'all ping pictures back and forth. What you're supposed to do. Look at this deer I got. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, I got him over here too. Whatever. But nobody ever gets on there and says, "Damn, Buddy, damn, Randy, damn, Brandon."
Well, because we're not putting up the fucking numbers you are.
If they find a camera out in the woods,
it's
mine.
Again,
it's fucking mine.
Pass that crown over here, baby. I'll wear that shit with pride.
It's fucking mine.
I'll have a fucking big old neck. I'll hold that shit.
I can grab one of your cameras right now and write freaking 90 on the top of it.
Yeah.
They've been out of shape.
Yeah. Well, this comes with
absolutely
being on top. So
absolutely. Absolutely.
That should be like a source of fucking pride almost. But well, I know it can get frustrating, because
the people who are genuine,
they'll attack your integrity on it, and that
the people who are genuine, I love dealing with them. They, like I said, congratulate, because they know they're out there doing the same thing, maybe at a smaller scale, maybe they don't have as big of a hunting group as I got, or whatever, but they appreciate it. They know the grind, they know the work, they know what it's took for them to kill a nice deer, so they know. But then you got people out there who don't, they just go.
Yeah.
Oh, such and such area is open. I'm gonna climb up. Sometimes those guys kill nice deer. It happens on Bragg every year. Somebody doesn't know shit.
Don't know. Just walks into it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
But the people who aren't successful but don't try as hard as they could try, they're the first ones to say it's because of this.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to, they were probably the dork in school that hated the football quarterback because he had everything. Where if you want that, it's envy is what it is. If you want that, well, then apply yourself. If that's really what you want. And if it's not what you want, then just let the guy do his thing.
But it's like this here too, man. I mean, sometimes it's not all about the skill of it. You know, like for instance with Slob, man, there was several people after I killed him. Not you didn't. You weren't the only one. Randy wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one. My buddies weren't the only one. There was people I had no clue in this world even had a post permit that had pictures of him and sent them to me. You know, like I had a couple pictures of him too. You know, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
But that just goes to show. You know, their cameras were out there somewhere that I never saw, that you never saw.
Yeah,
or,
yeah,
you know,
oh,
you know
yeah,
what I'm saying?
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. How many people do you have? Anybody out
And
there?
thanks to whatever happened with Randy in early season where he just didn't get that shot, I was able to kill the fucking deer. You know, but that deer I could have got on here crying. That deer was.
I told him
that deer was taken from me.
Listen,
know?
yeah.
I could have done that shit.
Yeah.
You know.
When Randy posted that picture, I texted him within minutes and was like, "What the fuck are you like?" He was like, "No way is anybody going to know where that picture was taken." And I've given him every scenario. I'm like, "You were signed in." I'm not saying that you had the clout to do this, but I mean, you could actually call. Like, you know, I used to know somebody that worked up there. If I want to know where you were hunting, I'd call and say, "Hey, where's he hunting at?"
Yeah, that broom straw grass in the background of that picture was 26 inches long. That's the only broom straw grass 26 inches long at Bragg. I went out there with my tape measure, so this had to be where he was bedded at.
Do you hunt with anybody that you will actually tell, like a friend, like, "Hey, look,
My circle.
you need to be in that tree,
All right, so,
or on this day," like, and you want that person to kill that deer or help them.
I'm getting better with that. So here's what I mean. My dad, yes,
Yeah.
my dad has unlimited. He can see every picture I get.
Right.
Unlimited access. I tell him to go sit in trees at certain times. Some of my other buddies that are getting pictures of the same deer I got, I tell them. I don't tell them where to go kill him, but I tell them where I got the pictures at. Like, you know, they're like, hey, because they're giving it to me. Like, Hayden, a good friend of mine, he's a big reason of why I caught up to Slob as quick as I did. I've had pictures of him for years.
Bullshit. We know how you caught Slob. We just ain't gonna air it out.
Right. But
anyway,
he started getting Slob in an unusual spot, like where he hasn't been. And I don't know if it was from pressure or what, but Slob was getting way out. And I was like, damn, and he was getting kind of consistently. So I said, man, I'm gonna go over there with 5 or 6 cameras and fill in the gaps. But because he showed me, so well, here's all my cameras. And I said, well, I'm gonna fill in the gaps of your cameras and let's see what we get or don't get.
Right.
A lot of times you don't get it. I mean, a lot of times you put the camera out, you get deer, but you don't get that deer. You know, man, it's hard to know all them woods out there.
But even what you just said, going out, sitting down, plotting out where these 10 cameras are, and then going and then putting the cameras out there and then keeping up with other that's a lot of work,
it is.
Man.
So check this out. We talked about it. It was the Thanksgiving week. We talked about it. And then I said, yeah, you know, I'm going to get down at 11 and between 11 and 1, I'm going to do this stuff midday, shit be moving, you know, blah, blah, blah. The very first spot I went to put a camera out, you know, to fill in a gap, I'm walking. I come to this scrape. I'm like, dang, this scrape's pretty fresh. And it was open for gun. I could have had a rifle in my hand. It's in my gun case locked up in the truck. I got 4 or 5 cameras in my hands. I put the cameras down to the base of a tree because I'm going to, you know, put it on the tree to watch this scrape. And I look up from me 60 yards, and guess who's standing there at 11:15 in the morning looking at me? Slob.
Shit.
I watch him run off. I said, oh, he just fucked up. He just fucked up. So from there, I call Hayden. He meets me, and we walk the rest of the 45 minutes putting out the rest of these cameras with his rifle. Mine's still in the truck. I said, carry it in case we walk up on him again or something. You know, bam. We do that. Start getting the pictures coming in, and we hunt. I hunted him. Yeah. I almost had him, I think it was a Thursday or Friday morning. Come by me in the dark.
Yeah.
Know it was him because I'm looking at the picture. You know, I'm like, fuck, I can hear him. Oh, damn. There he is.
Yeah.
Too dark. So he gets by me. I mean,
he busted me.
And I got a rifle.
Yeah.
Just gets by me. All right. That week finishes. Next week, it's not open for gun. I go in there with my bow. And that week ends. And that area is no longer open for gun. But the area I went to is always bow. It's very rarely open for gun. I went over there and killed him the Well, that was my first set in there this past season, but first set over there since October.
Yeah. He busted me a few times. It's like last year I only got on 2 scoreable deer that would have maybe put me up for second place. But like I said, I can find them. I'm getting on them. Of course, I use Randy as a bird dog. He's a big part of it. But when it comes time to closing that deal, I end up getting busted. I do something stupid. I log it in my brain for next year, and if it ever happens again,
that's the part bad about not writing it down. You'll forget it. You can't tell me what nice deer that you got on camera in October if you didn't write it down.
No. What I'm saying is the mistake that I made that got me busted.
Yeah. You'll remember that mistake.
That eats at me.
I'm talking about special days because
I can't keep up with that shit.
There's certain days of the year. I said it on the first podcast.
Yeah.
There's certain days of the year that nice deer showed up in front of my camera, different spots, but year in, year out. There's particular dates of every month.
Well, you were talking about a particular deer that for 3 or 4 years was always in, and I had him on camera during that time by.
And I'm going to sit there this year in that 10-day window.
Yeah.
Because he's going to show up. Now, will he show up when I'm there?
I don't know. I know about where you're sitting, if you were telling the truth. I don't know the exact area, but I'll probably be about 300 yards down. So hopefully he comes by me first, and maybe I'll scare him to you.
It's super pop. If I kill him, I'll let you know because you're definitely going to want to see him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And if somebody else kills him, because there's a few other people.
Something about that deer. I think it's probably because it's the only non-typical natural deer that I've ever put eyes on.
There's another guy that we know very well that's got a super good chance of killing him.
Yeah.
And I told him at the sign-in shed last year, I was like, hey, man, if you happen to kill him, I just want to see him in person.
Yeah.
Shoot me a message.
BT?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, BT gonna show you.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, I want to see him in person.
Yeah, I want to see him in person. When you kill him, I don't want to see it the next day or when they post the pictures. Call me. I want to come see him.
Yeah, I want to put my hands on him.
And I only started chasing him the year before last because I had never seen him. I just happened to see him turning out of the skin shed, going home, and I got down. And I just told everybody where.
This story we're talking about could be non-existent because my dad had him at 23 yards back in 2020, but he didn't have the jump.
Yeah.
He was just that frame, but no drops.
Yeah.
And he decided to pass him because he went with a 6, a heavy horn 6.
Yeah, well, he's got a special place in my heart. Now, I don't have. If I ever had an opportunity that I blew with that deer, I would never get over that shit, man. I've never had the couple that I busted last year. I was down in Nicaragua and I was laying in bed, and I think I don't know, I looked at the page, something about deer hunting, and I remember getting busted. Now the first deer, I didn't get busted. I just couldn't get the shot because I was in that stupid contraption. But the second one I got busted, and I knew he was. I played all the cards right. He just again with that grunt call, he came right to the spot. And I was expecting him because he came all the way around, and I thought he was going to come out. This is where he's been coming out. But this day, he decided to go all the way around and come over here and stop behind a pine tree where I couldn't see him. But I didn't really do my checks before I sat back in my climber. I didn't go okay, I know he's around. I just fuck.
Yeah.
And he went.
And he was like, oh, shit.
He was right there.
Shit.
Yeah. And that burns me up. And when I think about it, I mean, I actually got up out of bed. Jody was like, quit thinking about deer hunting, put me in a bad mood. This is supposed to be enjoyable, but it stresses me out so much. But I love it. I'm so addicted to it. And I can't wait till Saturday, man. Was it
next Saturday?
Next Saturday. Not this Saturday coming up, but the one after that.
Yep.
Yeah. It's supposed to have nice weather, too. It's supposed to be the high, supposed to be like 75.
I mean, early season to me. That's nice to be for us to sit in.
Yeah.
The deer, I don't think.
So one of the things I'll do tonight is we'll go to.
Do you know where you're gonna go opening day?
Yeah. Well, I got 2 spots picked out. I don't know which one I'm gonna go to. But let's talk about some of the guys. Maybe there's actually someone listening that's new. Hunt and Bragg.
Let's do it.
They're out right now scouting. What should they be looking for an opening day spot? What is Michael Skipper looking for? Now I know you have you have it, but if you
didn't, I would try to find oak trees that's got acorns on them. Okay. They shouldn't be dropping yet.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be, but you need to find the ones that are actually
right and just log those in and pin them. So
and then just keep going to them each week because sooner or later they're going to start dropping.
Right,
but you don't want to be behind it. You don't want them to be dropping and the deer on them, and then you check it 3 weeks, a month later, and they've already ate them up and moved on.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and try to find that as close to something thick as you can, whether it be a finger, swamp thicket, whatever you think is thick. Because sometimes they don't require thickness for deer to bed there.
Right.
If they're
Yeah.
not being bothered, they'll bed in
They'll
wide open,
wide in the
nothingness.
middle of it. Yeah.
And there'll be an oak tree loaded that they'll be bedded in wide open nothingness. They'll
Mhm.
get up and they'll go 60, 70 yards and they'll eat on that oak tree,
Yeah.
because they're not being bothered. But somebody new, it's just a natural way of wanting to do things. You want to look at a map, you want to find the thick stuff that deer can hide in, and then I try to find acorns as close to it as I could.
Okay.
That's what I would do starting out.
That sounds it
That's
sounds
basic,
pretty,
man.
but finding an oak tree is not, don't sell him, Josh. Finding an oak tree that is like, I've had people send me pictures of like these acorns, and I didn't know at the time, but I was like, yeah, those are acorns, but they look kind of old. They look like last year's acorns. So, I didn't know well enough that if the acorns dropped last year, chances are they're not going to drop this year. And the different oak trees, and
some of them are 3-4 year cycles.
yeah,
I check them every year like a
right.
beginner.
Right.
It's just a habit.
So having some technology there, like one of those plant readers, you can take a picture of the leaf to know what a white oak is. So if they have the option between red oak, acorns, and white oak, they're going to prefer white oak, is what I've always heard.
Absolutely.
So find a white oak tree that's producing acorns.
Yeah, they'll walk past other acorns to eat those acorns.
Right.
Same thing with like a pin oak, the little tiny ones. Something about
what about muscadines? I mean,
if you see that they're eating them, hunt it. But I mean, I can't say that like a deer would walk, prefer that. I mean, it's like grapes, man. I find grapes in the woods kind of frequently. I mean, they're not everywhere, but I don't struggle to find grapes in the woods. But they're not all. I eat more of them than the deer most of the time. I mean, sometimes you'll find some, and the tracks are all over the place and they're eating them. But most of the time, you'll find grapes, but there's not really many deer tracks because there's so much. Early season, they'll eat browse. They'll eat browse like it's going out of style,
And persimmon trees.
Yeah, like persimmon trees.
I've hunted around. Like I found a persimmon tree. Like I didn't know what they were, and then I found one on accident. And there's a place where I hunt. There's you probably know the spot. There's like 5 of them
right there, and you see those.
And only those.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And then sometimes, I can't say nice right there ain't gonna go eat on a persimmon. I'm sure they do, but it's just like you said. If I had to go, my personal experiences, I've never sat on a persimmon tree waiting on a 150. I'm not saying it can't happen,
right?
And I also tend to find out from putting cameras on them, like the persimmon tree is usually not in the ideal spot. Like it's not usually tight to the bedding or something. It's usually right
on the road. Break, right where they mound up.
Yeah, or in something sandy.
Yeah.
And you'll see a bunch of deer tracks. You put a camera on it, you'll find out that it's like mostly nighttime. You go there in the middle of the night and eat them up. But without a camera, you see hundreds of tracks.
Yeah.
You might not necessarily understand that that's 2 o'clock in the morning.
2 o'clock
every
in the
night.
morning.
They'll stay there for an hour.
So oak tree next to thick stuff, as close as you can get to it.
That's just the throwing the blanket.
So if I've got a big mature white oak tree that hasn't dropped an acorn in 2 years, he should be dropping this year, and it's surrounded by draw.
Possibly.
That's got to be a good spot, right?
I got one that I went and checked not long ago before I met up with y'all, and I think it was like 21. It was loaded and it produced. It was good. It was great. And it ain't produced acorn since. And this
3
is
years.
20. And this is
white
24.
oak.
Yes,
wow.
White oak.
Okay.
And this is 24. And I checked it again this year. I check it every year. And that was my first year finding that. I didn't know about that oak previously. I found it in 21. It was loaded. There was deer tracks, little rough saplings everywhere in September.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh shit.
What about these guys? I hear it all the time, and I've done it actually before too. I ain't never had no success doing it. Is actually going into the draw. Like you got an area where it looks really thick, and then you can kind of get past about 5 yards and kind of opens up. There's usually a creek there, but that's usually where they're coming out of. What about punching into those? Are you a fan of that, or you like to stay on the outside?
I do, but I don't do it. I don't do it early. Like early, they didn't really have no pressure. I try to give them as much. I'm not trying to get hundreds and hundreds of yards back, but I'm trying to give them plenty of cushion because they're naturally getting up, moving. They tend to move early season.
Yeah.
And then as hunting season gets in, everybody's hunting. You hunted it. Somebody else that you didn't know hunted it. Just they're coming out after you've hunted it, smelled where you were, how you walked in, and all that shit, and they start being deer. They start taking notice. That's what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
Then you might find, and a camera would help you with this. You put a camera there, and you'll notice that they're coming out like right at last light or 10 minutes out. But you're in your head. You're like, man, I bet you I could go in there 75 yards from this tree, but get in there with them and not have to go in there far, but they'd be in there kind of hanging out for 10, 15 minutes before dark before they come out.
Yeah,
and that'll get you to kill.
Well, I've sat on the edge of one of the spots I hunt is like right on the edge where every time I've killed deer there, they're coming out. Right. So one year I went in there and I basically made a trail and I found an open area and a nice tree. And I cut some limbs to make lanes and put a camera in there. Never got a deer on camera. Hunted in there, ain't never seen a deer. So like, I think going in there and doing what I did,
it changed.
It fucked it up.
Yep.
Like you can go in. I think you touched on this the last time you were on the podcast last year. Like the reason why they can hear a sound and come right to it from 100 yards is they walk around. They know every hanging branch. So you go in there, you cut some branches, and it's hanging. It changes the scenery. It alerts them.
They take notice to it,
and then they smell something. They're like, okay, I'm not going there.
Younger deer might not pay as much attention to it as an older deer, but it gets paid attention to. Some deer, like I said, it's just a bottom line. Some deer are easy to kill.
Yeah.
And some deer are hard.
Yeah, no, I've usually young deer sometimes will see in the tree and look at you and stomp. And like an adult deer, a mature deer knows.
With a mature deer, especially if you get him on camera and he's actually like in the daylight, the goal is obviously you got an upper hand on him at this point. He doesn't know, or he wouldn't be there and brought up in daylight. He doesn't know that you got the scoop on him.
Right.
So your kind of job at this point is to keep it that way. Well, the more times you go in there, the odds are getting in his favor more and more and more because, like I said, if he didn't come out that day, like let's say it was a cold front coming in, everything's money, the barometric pressure's on the rise, according to an app, AI says it's the fucking day. And you go in there and it just don't happen.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that happens. You got to chalk that up. That was a smart sit on your half. It just didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you can't go back and go back and go back and go back and keep having the same results.
So if you so that's another tip right there that I need to apply more. And I tried it last year. Sometimes it's hard to do, even though I know better. This year I'll be better about it. But if you go to a spot where maybe a deer's going through and you go there, you don't see nothing. And then you go the next day and you don't see nothing.
And then the
next day, you're fucking it up.
You're hurting yourself.
Go out there, sit. If you don't see them, maybe go to another spot the next day, give it a couple days, go back in there. Because it's very, very hard to not, there's a big deer in there. And you just think, man, it'll slip up if and then not only that, you're going in the morning and you're sitting there all day, and all day sits are okay, but all day sits you can slip up because you get you moving around,
you get mentally,
you get exhausted, and then you're not hunting the whole time and you're not paying attention. You're more apt to, oh shit, I'm thirsty and do this.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
And he might have been coming.
It happens.
And you do this and you never even know that he saw you or you spooked him. So don't wear your spot out. That is old school. Like I said, a lot of guys that started.
There's nothing wrong with being aggressive. But you got to know when to be aggressive, and that's what separates.
That's kind of like how do you really?
That's what I was about to say. Well, here's what I was about to tell you. That's what separates the beginners from the more skilled guys is knowing when. All right, so how you can know when is the sign for one. If that sign is old, yeah, it's there, but if it's old, he's not there.
Yeah,
he was there maybe last week, and he spent 2 or 3 days there. Bragg deer are different. They don't, like I said, very rarely does this son of a gun go to this head every day, come out of this head every day, so on and so forth. He might come in there.
Unless he's keeping with a doe a lot of times.
That's what I was about to say. You got a doe bedding that you always see does at. All right, these bucks are going to come in there because it's breeding season. But you got a 48, 60-hour window tops of these deer, really. You've seen it on your camera. Just take a minute to actually look at what your cameras are telling you. Yeah. You've seen it before. Like, man, this deer just showed up. He hung out a couple of days, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there, plugging away like he's going to come back. It doesn't work that way, but you can remember when those dates were. Remember that. Write it down. I don't care what you do, but remember it. Next year, these does still live there. They still got to come in estrus. These bucks, it's a circle of life. These bucks has got to come over here to check them out. They're gonna
Right.
get some. But remember those days that seem to be the time, and then ease in there. I'm a big fan of trying to get it. If you wait for the daylight on your camera, sometimes that was it. That was it. Like
Yeah.
you had to been there, and you it's okay, daylight, and I'm gonna try. And then sometimes you're behind the deer, and that's what cameras mess up a lot of people. They are behind.
Yeah. Well, Gary Matt Yock asked, "What are your thoughts on finding sheds every year at the same spot? Would you lean more towards late season sitting there?"
Absolutely,
There you go.
absolutely.
So if you're finding sheds in the same spot every year,
There's a late
kind
season,
of leave it
there's a
alone.
late season food source close by, and if I had to bet, knowing Bragg, it's gonna be one of their little food plots.
Yeah.
That food plot is where they go late season.
Hmm.
And when the pressure gets off, when they're dropping horns, their season gone. Pressure gets off, and these deer get on a routine because nobody's bumping them
Yeah.
anymore. They're not smelling nobody. They're
Right.
going to this field every day. That's what they're surviving on until spring green up, and that's why you're finding sheds there.
Hey, Gary, send me the pin on where you're finding these sheds. I'll check it out for
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And Gary, quit saddle hunting, man. You
Well,
want
now, wait a
you
minute
want to
now.
bring the big tufts to camp, or you want to be cool?
Both. We want to do both.
You can't have your cake
No.
and eat it too.
If you bring the big tufts to camp and you drop it down out of your climber, and I bring
Hey,
one that's a little smaller
Randy's
out
a
of my
good hunter,
saddle,
right?
yeah.
What's he hunting out
Oh,
of?
fuck. He-
Okay, hey, shush. We got look. You
Yeah.
got to open your eyes and you got to see.
Mhm.
You got eyes, but you're blind.
Yeah, cool guys only. I get it.
I get it.
No,
Hey, what's been killing these booters, Papa?
Well, here's the thing, man. I don't know how to. I try to. I'm getting tired now. I try to.
Am I boring, bro?
No. I'm just tired, man. Long day. Up
Let's
early.
chop one out.
But yeah, you got some. Maybe. I try to express this feeling like, okay, so you got hunting, killing deer is the ultimate objective, but I've kind of just gotten into. I'm always trying. I was up at 4 o'clock this morning tying knots. I watched JRB, JRB tree
Yeah.
climbing. He does all of this stuff. Like he'll do like a climb just on ropes, and then he'll just put his saddle up, and he does it without mechanical devices. So I just learned how to tie knots, and then I try something cool, and I'm like, well, how would this work for me out of this system? And then I want to try it. That's all. But I'm definitely full tilt boogie on the saddle hunt. I just think
Hey, Gary,
it's better.
this year, bro, when you're hunting your spots and what you're seeing from the tree, you'll notice. Like, I mean, I'm assuming you're gonna be hunting a few spots. That's your jam, and you're gonna be hunting them. And you might not see much September, and it gets better October, November, whatever it is. But you all of a sudden, you're gonna have a little week of time that like you're into some bucks, and you're probably gonna kill one. Pay attention to what those dates were like that week in time. Write it down so you don't forget. So next year, when you go hunting that same spot that you've been hunting, you're gonna keep hunting it. If it keeps showing you deer, you're gonna keep hunting it, and then it'll help you from wasting time like early October or whatever when you were hunting there this year, not seeing what you wanted, but all of a sudden sometime we'll just say November, like Veterans Day or something, that time frame right there, all of a sudden you noticed the sign got fresh and you started actually seeing more horned deer, maybe different horned deer, whatever it is. Pay attention to that window of time, write it down so you don't forget it. Next year, you can spend time elsewhere before that little magical week comes at that particular spot, because that particular spot's going to have certain times. Like you can hunt this spot year round, and it might have a little time in November where it got good, and then it might have a little time in December where it got good. But you'll notice, like October, you didn't really see nothing, or whatever it was. But next year, you won't hunt there when it was slow. You'll know to go hunting there when it got better, and you can go somewhere else to try to find something better for when that spot's slow. That's what I do.
Yeah.
And I mean, I just done it for years and years and years and years and years. And like, I run regular cameras in areas that I did. Like I was telling you when we were discussing a particular area on a deer that you had, I just put cameras there, knowing I wasn't going to hunt it. They were regular cameras. I was going to go get them when the season, whatever didn't get stolen, I was going to get when the season went out and see. And that joker has September to January on it, and I could see. All right, not much. All of a sudden, oh dang, there's a nice deer. Oh, I started getting bucks. Okay, look, well, it started on the 9th of November and it kind of petered out on the 22nd. But I'll know this year, hey, if I want to go sit somewhere and have a real chance Need to go over there and sit around Veterans Day, whatever the
Yeah.
time was,
Still though, that's a lot of work. What you just described, actually putting that into practice, is a lot of work.
Yeah, it's time. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be out there, it's the same
Yeah.
time. It's just, what are you doing with your time? Are you
My-
hanging off the side of a tree and hope?
Yeah. I think that's what
That's what a lot of people do.
I think
They
that's
go out
what
there and
the
they hope.
majority of people do, and I say that.
I ain't hunted on hope in years, bro.
Yeah, I'll go out there and I will I'll be like, okay, I'm not even going to go in the morning hunt. I'm going to wait till about 9, 10:30 when people are kind of coming out, because most people, I don't care what you're doing, what you're saying. Most people, they're going to go at sunrise. They're going to sit till 9:30, 10, and then they're going to go eat breakfast, and they're going to go tree by 3.
Yeah.
That's the old, like
Yeah,
kind of the old.
and you'll never teach that dog a new trick. That ain't necessarily the audience I'm talking to.
Yeah.
Right. I'm talking to,
But trying to break from that, even some guys are just like, nope, that's not the way how we did it. They ain't doing it.
And some guys,
But even trying to break from that is hard, because I'll go out and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go scout. But then my mind is, if I just get up in the tree,
you can't kill him if he ain't in the tree.
He might come by, and I'm out here wasting time scouting, or he's probably over there in this other area. And when you try to cover areas from like the western end of Bragg to behind the fence and Bragg and all around, I don't know, my brain starts getting. So I'm trying. That's where I'm trying to put more time into killing the deer next year. Like, I might get him this year, but I'm really like trying to set up to where I know where he's going to be next year. But that's hard, because I don't want to end the season with that.
That's like me. This year, I'm hunting last year's behavior.
Yeah, right. So that's kind of like what it goes into is, and then I'm bad with like just remembering times. And I go by the moon. I'm like looking the red phase. And
absolutely.
What do you think, as far as, what are you looking for when you look at barometric pressure?
I want it to be 30 or higher, but I love it being like 30.2. That's outstanding. But if I simplify it even more than that, you just want it on the rise. I don't really care where it's at, as long as
it's on the rise. So there's a good tip right there. So
if it's on the fall, I think Holloway said it in the last podcast, man, go fishing.
Go fishing. Yeah.
But if you're like me and you want to hunt,
I'm still
going to go hunt,
but maybe not go to the spot where you think that big guy.
Don't go to your good spot. Gotcha. Go try something new. You're going fishing at this point. Go try something new, or if you want to shoot a doe, go to one of the spots where you feel good about shooting a doe. But don't go set your best spot or a potential, for your nicest buck on a day that statistically says it ain't going to happen.
I'm just reading, see if you got any questions.
Yeah. Let's talk.
Brian Ward says, last year, my first year of true effort on Bragg. No luck, but listening to these live chats got me on sign. Good. That's what we're here for.
And it'll get better, man. You just don't, man. I didn't start. I had a great teacher, so I had an easier road than the majority. Yeah. My dad had already had a lot of shit figured out, but we weren't killing big deer.
Right.
But he was able to put me on deer. So
when do you think, you've been hunting for a long time, was it always big? Was it always big tusks, big nuts, or was it? Is that something that a lot of people are saying? But because of social media, more hunters are now targeting big bucks, whereas before it was all about fellowship and eating fruits.
A bunch of these right here.
Yeah.
When my dad got me going, you shot whatever the hell you wanted. A spike, I killed them. Button bucks, I killed them. Little fawns, I killed them. If I could get a deer, because I grew up bow hunting, if I could get a deer in bow range, if I didn't kill it, it's because I missed it.
Right.
I shot at it.
Yeah.
All right. I've done that for years, and it still this day ain't old.
Yeah.
But it got to a point where, okay, I can't shoot better deer if I'm shooting the first deers that come out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've done that 4 or 5 years, man. I mean, I started when I was 11 with my bow.
And you're 30.
I'm 35.
35.
I mean, I'm 20. Every chance I got, doe, spike, it didn't matter. And my dad was killing nicer deer, but he went through this phase that I was in, when he started when he was young.
Yeah.
So,
but see, a lot of guys, what I'm saying is, a lot of guys like the guy Chris that was on last week, Steve Randall, I think Gary.
Both of them.
Gary, I don't know. I can't speak to Gary.
I don't know much about Steve because I don't see him much, but I see Chris.
Yeah.
And Chris is putting boots to the ground.
Yeah.
All right.
But he just came into hunting at COVID. So he didn't come into hunting, like you just said. He didn't have 5-10 years of killing everything. He went from the beginning targeting mature bucks.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
And I tell you, I watched his videos, and he's only been hunting since 2020. I think I started hunting in 2014-ish.
Well, see,
And
another.
I couldn't be filming and all that. I would have sent like 3 arrows at that buck. He waiting on him.
Yeah.
So it's kind of stepped up in the. It's not. I say athletic, or adventure sport almost is like we all start. I started the same way. Sit on a corn pile, predetermined stand, shoot everything that comes out. If you get one with horns, you're cool for the day. But you can't really talk about how you tracked them and you
Yeah.
found them. You just kind of got lucky. Guys now in the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, I think that's a big complaint. And the old school hunter mentality, because now we're not impressed with I say the crowd's not impressed with your spike anymore. They're just like, hey, good job. Or, a guy like me is going to make fun of you a
Yeah.
little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah.
And all in fun.
Yeah.
I'm never going to talk shit to a guy and put him down like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
piece of shit,
And see,
killing that deer. What the fuck? It's never like
and
that.
somebody like me, if I was a guy that shot that spike and you being you, I'd be
Yeah.
like, well, what have you killed? You son of a
Yeah.
bitch? I don't see you killing shit.
It's all for me. It's more like fun, but there are people out there when these guys will post a 6-pointer and they're like, "You dumbass,
Yeah,
you shouldn't have you should have let him walk." And
yeah,
they're being like they're actually not punching down, they're talking down. I don't subscribe to that. That's just being a troll.
yeah, absolutely.
You probably wouldn't say that face to face.
But in the grand scheme of things, to have nice deer, I mean, unfortunately, some of them little deer got to die too. You got to get mouths out of the woods for the better deer to get more, nutrients or whatnot.
Let's see, Steve Randall. I see you more this year. I'll see you more this year, Skipper. I'll be posting hunting on post after work. Randall post. Yeah, Randall. He hunted a lot.
That ain't what I wanted to hear, Steve.
Steve's another one. Like I don't know. Like I said, I'm sure I've had this conversation with him, and I don't know right off the top of my head. He's kind of new to the hunting game. Like he started hunting when he was at Bragg. He's from Utah.
Yeah.
Gun climber, and then just I guess he kind of studied it and was like, okay, this is where I want to go. I want to kill mature bucks. I want to kill them with a bow because that is what's cool. I'm not speaking for you, Randall. I'm just assuming that, why spend 10 years doing what a lot of people grew up doing if I just want to go right for the prize. I want to be the man. So if it takes me 10 years, I'm trying to be the man for 10 years. So when I get there, I'm going to be really good. Make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if the technology was there back in the 80s. Guys were saddle hunting. It wasn't big. I never heard about it until, I don't know, 2016, 17.
Big deer have died year in, year out.
Right.
And on Bragg. I mean, you can go if you.
But were they being targeted?
No. Here's how that goes. I say no because obviously, if you didn't see the deer beforehand, you never knew it existed.
Right. So cameras help that out.
They were finding sign and hunting it, and that happened to be what come out.
But were they good enough to look? Could you look at a rub and say this is a big deer?
Well,
or a mature deer based on where it's at? Maybe not the big tree, big deer, but maybe like.
That's what I was about to say, man. In my experiences from Ohio to here or whatever, that big tree holds weight. I mean, I understand that a little bullshit deer can put his horns on it too. I get all that. But personally, from pictures and personal kills, when you find, I'm not talking about this tree. I'm talking about
the big tree.
Yeah, I'm talking about the big tree. Yeah. I'm not talking about just a little bit on the front side. I'm talking about it's wrapped around, it's hammered. It's hammered like a little tree, but it's a big tree. That's a mature deer. Yeah. Now, is this rack 180 or is this rack 130?
It's mature.
But it's mature.
Well, you remember that one that I killed right before I moved, and he had nose.
I told you I had pictures of
but
that.
they were pretty big around. I think they aged him at like 4.5 years. But he only had little nubs.
Like maybe he had service.
He got bad genes. The night before,
you're probably targeting that deer. You can tell us.
No. The night before, I thought I was targeting him only because I saw him. I was in a new spot and I saw him from a distance, and he was tearing up a tree. He was over there. I thought it was 2 bucks fighting. It was so far away and it was getting dark. It was probably about 120 yards or so, and I heard it, but I couldn't see it. The only thing that I looked through, like because it was a bunch of like 8 to 10 foot baby oak trees. And the only reason I looked in that spot for like 5 minutes, and then I saw him move, and then it was one of those ones where I could stare at him and lose him, but he was tearing up a tree, a good sized tree. He was like,
Yeah.
So I didn't see what he was. So I went back like 2 mornings later, but I went around up the hill. So if he come through there was a clearing he had to go through, and he did. He came through that morning, and I shot him.
You wasted his ass.
Yeah. And then I got over there and I was like, What the hell? I never seen that. He wasn't. He looked like he was built like a button buck, but he was, he was good size. I don't remember what he weighed now, but it wasn't a baby. He was a 4.5-year-old deer.
There's a cow horn out there that me and Hayden got pictures of. He's probably a 5.5, 6.5-year-old deer this past year. He's gonna be all over 200 pounds. I mean, a Brahma bull, son.
Really?
Big head.
See, I'd like to get that. That's
Dude,
not typical. It's weird,
He's got horns coming out of his head like this big, but that's all he is a freaking cow horn.
Yeah,
no
I'd like
point.
I'd like to target something like that.
I bet you, man, we had pictures of him, and he was trash rack. I don't know, it's like 4 seasons ago. But a deer like that, you don't kind of keep up with. You're like, damn, that's an old deer.
Yeah.
But he hadn't resurfaced this year, and when I seen it, I was like, dude, I know that. And I sent it to Hayden. I was like, man, is this that damn, fucked up rack deer from all them years ago? And we got to looking at it, and then of course he had pictures saved, and we looked at it, and sure enough.
Well, we turn this off. Tell me where he's at. Hey, do you kill does? Kill does?
No, right? I mean I do, but that's why, like, matter of fact, while we're talking about that big buck hunt contest stuff.
Oh yeah.
Here you go. So that's me and my dad's entry paid.
Okay. So hey, just a reminder.
And that's $25 for me for the buck, and $25 for him for the buck.
So Maverick's gonna be in on the big doe. I already got you in. I texted Randy today.
Big buck.
Hey, look, you're on the big buck.
And my dad's on the big buck.
Randy changed that. 2 big buck entries. I thought you wanted big doe for your daddy.
No, big buck. In case he gets lucky, he can reap the benefits.
So to get in on this, look, guys, we got it down to $25. Even if you don't feel like I always say, you can't run with the big dogs if you don't get off the porch.
That's right.
Even if you just get lucky and you beat this man.
Yeah, man.
You won't have bragging rights. People can say whatever they want. At that point, it's just haterade. You've got it. So it can happen. So, all right, Randy got it good. Sign up for it. And what's $25?
Absolutely.
Come on, man. You get in.
And the only reason why I'm not donating 50 a piece, 100 total, is because I know we're not shooting any ducks. I mean, I can count on one hand.
So that's what triggered the memory. So you're not shooting ducks.
So we got some private leases we go to, and mostly I let my kid get the meat for the freezer. I put corn pile out in a ground blind. He's datting them with his crossbow. So he'll shoot 3 or 4. That's our meat. So I just shoot the horn deer.
How's your kid?
He killed a 4-pointer and a doe last year. Last year was his first year hunting. So his first, we went a few times, not seeing no deer. That's deer hunting. And then he had a doe come in, and I let him shoot him with my 300 blackout. And he was like 8 yards. The doe was like 8 yards. He shot it. It went like 20, 25 yards. I watched it fall, but I didn't tell him, because when he shot it, I threw my head out the blind. I watched her fall, and then I had him, he was jacked. I had him go to the point of impact and follow it.
That's cool.
His genuine reaction when he found it, because he had no clue.
Yeah.
And then that was with the 300 blackout. And then in November, I took him and let him shoot one with the crossbow. My dad bought a crossbow, man, like when crossbows were like first coming out with the cams.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an antique. It only shoots like 280 feet a second.
Yeah.
It's the draw so light on it. I don't need no cocker. It ain't shit. How I know how fast it shoots, I got a chrono, and I got him shooting it, and it's deadly accurate. And
nice.
So corn pile's 25 yards away. A 4-pointer come in. It was like November 7th or something. 4-pointer come in.
That's cool.
And I filmed it.
That's awesome. Boom. I took my son out,
peak, man.
And
now he's ready for shit I got on the wall.
Yeah, I took my son John out last year, and he saw a deer, but it saw us. We were in a ground blind, but I was half asleep.
I have to with him, because I had to put his crossbow or his gun in that death grip ball. Because I mean, he knows what to do, but it's kind of heavy. He's sick.
Oh yeah.
I got him a turkey.
He didn't get excited about it, like I'm saying. It's one of those things where he kind of saw a deer. Like, I see a deer on the side of the road, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I almost run off the road.
I made up.
But I think if you go deer hunting and you either shoot a deer or you see a deer, and it doesn't, almost like the feeling's almost like if you ever get real frightened.
Yeah.
That adrenaline rush you get, and it's almost, if that don't happen, then you're probably not a hunter.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean? But I'm gonna take him out this year and see if I can get him kill something, and then maybe that'll change it. Because my whole life I've been around deer hunters, and I just thought they were stupid. I went to Fort Bragg one time when I was a kid with the Turners.
And that's what I was telling you, like last year we were talking about the podcast. I'm like, man, Mondays and Tuesdays I take my kid. Yeah, because Wednesday through Sunday, if I can go, I go. And I ain't
Yeah.
trying to be. He's just not quite there. He likes
Right.
to go,
Yeah,
but he
yeah.
don't want to go like me every day.
It's hard to take your child
So-
hunting because if you're really into it,
And it keeps the pressure down on the deer, so
Yeah.
they show up on that corn pretty. So when we go, it's almost a guarantee. we're gonna see one.
yeah.
It
Well,
ain't
that's
nothing
good.
big, but
Well, that's good because I had my ex-wife's son. I took him. He loved it. He wanted to go all the time. Unfortunately,
You
we just
suck,
could
and
never
you couldn't,
get.
yeah.
I couldn't get him on a deer. Now, even on the thing is, even on his granddad's, he had 800-acre lease down in Alabama. They had food plots and all that, but it's just on the days that he went, didn't see the deer. And a kid that really wants to do it might go 3 or 4 times and then not see it and just be like,
Oh,
"Nah, I don't
absolutely.
want to go."
That's how my
So it's
son
kind of
is.
like you want to take your kids somewhere to like a baited area where there's going to be. Let them get a doe. Let them get a couple
absolutely.
does before you unleash them out there trying to get the big buck.
Absolutely.
It's like fishing. You hit kid fishing, you get them a cane pole and some bread balls, and you put them right on, and you let them get excited
yeah.
about catching fish. Because if
yeah.
you're out there with a 12-year-old throwing a damn Carolina rig,
Oh yeah.
you might throw that thing 100 times
Oh yeah.
before you get a damn tug, and it's important. So yeah,
See, my
good.
dad took me the old-fashioned way, man. I said a bunch. It didn't see no deer. I mean, I hunted Bragg,
Yeah.
but he'd walk me to a
Yeah.
tree. He'd put my stand on it for me. I'd climb up. He'd watch me climb up and get all in. And then
Yeah.
he'd go a couple 100 yards away and he'd hunt.
Mhm.
And then he'd climb down at dark.
Was that
He'd come to me.
because he was getting you to hunt, or was it because if he didn't take you, he couldn't go hunting?
No,
So
he could fuck me. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It's me being that persistent.
Yeah.
And then, like I said, he'd take me, and I'm not sure. I mean, he'd tell me, but
Yeah.
I'm not sure back then if he didn't set me where he set me, not to see something to break my spirits and be like, man, fuck this. So I didn't have to go.
I
But
tell you, if you
I
got a
was so ate
dad,
up with it. He was
Yeah.
like, damn, that didn't work.
yeah,
I mean, I'd sit out there frostbitten,
yeah.
but I didn't say, hey, we're going home. I didn't,
Yeah.
because you know what I'm saying.
I think that if you have a dad that takes you hunting, like generally takes you hunting and hunts with you all the time as a small kid,
Yeah, man.
you've got a really good dad.
Oh, absolutely.
Because for me, I mean, I'll take my kids whenever they want to go, but there are some times where I'm like, oh man, not today, because I want to go after this, and I got to be, and I've done that. I'm guilty of it. I take them whenever they want to go. Just I only ever had one that wanted to go. But for a dad to always take
He
you,
always took me. And
you know what I
he still
mean?
hunted his nice deer, and he
That's
put
a
me
man
by.
that generally wants to see you be better than him.
Yep.
And
He
no
showed me.
animosity,
Yeah, man.
because that's rare. I know a lot of people are, just because you don't do that does not make you a bad parent, but that's like super dad.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's taking you all the time.
All the time.
I
And then
mean?
at lunch, because back then there was no cameras. I mean, they might have been. Hell, I don't know. I didn't get into cameras until 2020. I know probably around like the 2012, 14, they had like the regular cameras, but that ain't my dad. My dad, still to this day, he ain't a camera guy. I'm that guy. He buys some, and he puts them out so he can look at them, but he ain't about a camera like I was.
Yeah.
Even with all the shit, that I've been able to prove that a camera can help you with, he's still like, hey, I mean, that's cool, but.
And I don't, like I said,
I'm hunting here.
I don't think
there.
that, like, we can beat a dead horse on that. If they were such such a crutch and made you like elevated I think that they elevate an already elevated game. Because if not, like I said, there would have been 100 booners out there last year.
I'm paying to put him in it for a reason.
Yeah.
I know how good he was without a camera. I think cameras messed him up more than it helped him.
Yeah.
And now he's just going to go back his raw instinct. Yeah. He knows where to be.
Cameras will hurt you. It hurt me.
And
Randy says it all the time. You put a fucking camera out there and you see a buck, and then you're like, I got to go to this spot. Even though you might have a feeling about over here might be better, but you saw them on camera, and then you go there and you never, like you said, you're probably behind them. So they've probably been hurting
the
majority of people.
Absolutely.
And then you hurt yourself, because I'm gonna tell you where I'm gonna be this year. I'm gonna tell everybody.
Fort Bragg.
Well, we can't use cameras, but if we could use cameras this year, when you posted that nice big fucking 150, 160, I'm going on your profile. I'm gonna see what the fuck you drive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what kind of hunting clothes you wear.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do all this intel. I'm gonna be like, because if you're not killing that deer, and then I'm gonna say, okay, he's hunting on Mondays and Tuesdays, right? Or he's hunting on Saturday and Sunday, and I can go whenever I want. So I'm gonna go in there on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, cameras are banned now because that never even dawned on me
Yeah, man.
until like recently. Like that's where like, okay, that's what I would be doing. But
That's
now we can't do that. But I'm not about snaking a guy. Like, I'm not gonna,
well, some people want the success,
and
and
they don't want to put in the
well,
work.
they're not
Yeah,
putting in the work. They're taking it the easy way. I mean, it's like you said. I'm not the only
yeah,
gentleman out there that you could do that to.
yeah. But you know how hard it was for me when my first experience with a big nice deer on Fort Bragg, seeing one when I shot my first buck, it was a 7-pointer. And I was so excited. It was total accident. It was dumb luck. My scope wasn't even zeroed, and I just got lucky where I shot him because I missed one the next day, a very nice one. But BT was up there skinning out caping out a deer, and I think it might have been Don Hutchins that actually killed the deer. BT was just helping him, or vice versa.
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
know.
Yep.
I didn't know none of these guys, and I kind of thought that BT was an asshole. Sorry, BT, even though he's the nicest guy in the world, because he's just reserved guy. If you don't talk to him, he's not going to come up to you and be like, "Hey, have a conversation with me.
Yeah, same way.
You look like a new hunter. But let me take you under my wing."
I'm
So
the same
but
way.
they were taking care of business. But I knew where he hunted because I knew where he drove, and that car was always parked. Do you know how hard it was for me not to go down in the area?
Oh yeah.
I never did.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I never went down in there, but I was like, I ain't seeing shit. I'm all over the place. I don't even know where to go. A lot of times I'll be on that lone pine tree 15 feet off the ground, in the middle, like getting busted.
And these cameras ain't going to change the
That,
way.
yeah, right.
He's there with them or without them. It doesn't matter because he knows.
Yeah. BT don't rely on cameras.
No, but he likes to see cool
Matter of
pictures,
fact, he likes to see pictures. Yeah, no deer hunter, any deer hunter that
but
says
he don't give a damn if that camera will send him pictures or not. He's there
because
he knows.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
proven. It's proven.
I had when I left last year, I had 5 cameras, cell cameras. I'm going to do nothing with them. So I told BT take them. He didn't really have a use for them because it's like he knows where he's going.
Exactly.
He's reading the sign.
Yeah, man.
And I ended up giving them to Garrett, and then he left, and Randy got them. But yeah, but it was hard for me not to go every ounce of my being, and I ended up I never went to his area. I went to the other side of the area. I was like, well, if he's here, if the big deer, because he killed one in late season, I don't know, 2018
with the long brow,
big brow tines, and that guy was like, oh shit. So I was like, if he's there, there's a good chance that he'll circle this way, or the deer will. So that's how I ended up in that. And that's why I hunt the backside.
Yeah.
I only started hunting a little closer to the other side after I wouldn't say I was invited, but I was told, hey, you need to go down here.
Yeah.
And once a dude says that, he didn't say, here, I'll take. If he said, I'll take you, you can go with me. That means I can go with him.
Yeah.
I'm never going back to that spot unless I get his permission.
Yep.
I know it's public land, but that's just the way I roll with it. But when you say you need to be sitting here and you show me on a map, you just giving me permission, and now I can hunt it. And
you'd be a fool not to look into it.
Yeah. So exactly. If a guy like that says, and now you could be getting poop. You could be getting a guy saying you should go over here because he's sending you, but BT ain't that type of guy. He was genuine. So when I got that, but I knew now I know exactly where he's at, right? But I still never went over there. So I'll still do that. If you say, hey, if you show me on the map, go check this area out, I'm the dumbass not to go look at it.
Yeah,
but you just gave me permission to hunt it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But if you say, look, come with me and we're going to set up over here. I'm going to take you to one of my spots. Don't tell nobody where it's at.
Yeah.
That means I can only go there with you. And if I choose to go back in there without telling you, I'm just accepting the fact that we're not going to be friends anymore.
Yeah.
That's the way I look at things. Not everybody sees shit that way.
Man, deer hunting, man, I tell you now, killing nice deer, whatever, man, that separate. Some of your friends separate from you, and I don't know why. The reason is it is what it is. But
it's envy, it's jealousy, it's hate. I mean,
you'll bring some closer, and some will go further.
Not everybody is. I don't know how to say this without sounding arrogant because I am not good. Okay, but in my mind, everything I'm doing is as if I am. I'll give you an example. This is the best way I can describe it. When I was in the security, when I got out of the military, I was a security contractor. So we got to go to all these schools. All right. Contract paid for it. And one of the schools I went to was a guy named Tom Bullins, and he's here in Carthage, Trigger Time Valley. This guy's a really good shot. He trained like Tom Cruise.
Oh shit.
He's one that told me if Tom Cruise or even Keanu Reeves, if they got on the circuit, they'd be championship shooters. And they train for movies. Anyway, he told me if I just slowed down that I would be better at shooting. And I was like, accuracy will come, baby. I want to be fast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I'm doing everything fast. So my accuracy suffered. But once it caught up, I was a really good shot with a pistol at one time. I still think I am. I'd probably suck if I went out there. I'd probably have to run through some drills to get it back. So with hunting, I'm like, the accuracy will come. I'm going to move. I'm going to think. I'm going to plan. I'm going to learn everything as if I'm already on your level. And even though I'm not, because when the time comes, there's a lot to be said. You can find them. You could sit somebody in a tree right now and tell them the deer going to come out here usually around this time, and he can set up exactly the way you tell him. But when it comes time to close the deal, he might overshoot, undershoot.
Yeah, you can't ever tell.
You know,
but that's not on you.
That's not on you.
Put him in the opportunity.
So that's shit you've got to fuck that up, or you don't want to fuck it up. But if you do, that just goes in the arsenal. Like I would have shot traditionally that deer that I had that I couldn't get the shot on. I had him at 30 yards and I could have put it right in his chest. All right. But I was trying to be a better deer hunter. I'm looking for the broadside. I'm trying to predict. And in hindsight, I should have put that bitch right in his chest. So that was a pretty deer, and I could have put it in his chest, no doubt. I don't know much about arrow shots. That should kill him. It should go right through him. It should drop him. But I wanted him to come out here and I wanted to get him double lung, heart shot, all that. So I don't know what I learned from that. Take the fucking shot. I don't know. 30 yards chest, is that unethical? What if I hit him in the shoulder and it boned him?
It's one of them things. I don't, it ain't what the public eye recommends, but
yeah, but I don't want to put an arrow. I don't want to booger up a deer if I don't have to.
Absolutely, I don't either. That's just about worse than missing them.
Yeah.
But you can boil it down too. It's like you tell me a distance that a deer hasn't been wounded with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
Does that make it unethical? Because people have made bad shots at 5 yards.
Well, yeah, that was a question last week when they asked me. I think Steve asked me the question if I had a distance I won't shoot over, and I think the common ethical bow hunter creed is 40 yards or under. But if I'm shooting at a target in my backyard consistently in the kill zone at 50 yards and I got a clear shot from a tree at 50 yards, why would I not take it? I shot a deer at 50 yards.
You have to take it to learn. Some deer react different. Some deer drop like it's hot. Some deer don't really move. But that's something that you really can't truthfully predict. You can assume. You can put in your mind like, this is what I think he's going to do, and you can shoot for that.
Yeah.
But you really don't know for sure if he's really going to do that or not.
Yeah.
And that's what what makes it, unethical, if you will. But my furthest shot's 55. I took one shot further than that and I missed.
Yeah.
And I knew it was a little doe. It was the end of the season and I was just doing it to do it. And I knew how it was going to play out. But other than that, I've shot them in the late, 46, 48. I killed them 55. But most of the time, when you do your shit right and you're on them, they're giving you that 20, 25,
I think the furthest shot that I've got with a bow was about 45 yards, and I probably wouldn't have taken the shot, but as it was walking, same area where Slav was killed, except I was in the thick area where my climber, he was walking up the trail, but then he turned to cross it, and up that draw, there's an oak tree that splits like this. And I said, if he walks in between where that B's at, all I gotta do is put the arrow. I'm just my target. You know what I'm saying? That was my mindset. Yeah. I think I probably would have missed him if he was out in the open, but because I had those two oak trees, so I waited, and he fucking stopped right there, and I sent it, and it was a perfect, beautiful shot. The problem was that monster that I shot when I tracked him 40 yards later was a spotted fucking buck.
Oh, I got you.
It was a baby. I couldn't see it. It was getting dark, and I was actually talking to James White at the time.
Good shot, bro.
I was actually texting James White at the time because I had kicked him off the page for something. I think he posted. I don't know what the drama was. We were talking about it, and then I was like, "Hold on, I got movement," and that's what it was. And anyway, well, shit, bro. We had an hour and 33 minutes. Let me tell you about this idea that Jonathan Holloway had today. I'll say that we had it together, but it was his idea. If you go to, so we're raising money, right? You bought that shirt. Show everybody your shirt, by the way. That thing is badass. PM to deconflict.
Yeah, man.
Hell yeah. Got that LR on the sleeve for
Yeah, man.
Latitude Ranch, but that's Latitude Ranch.
Right.
So we're raising money. The idea was $8, which is the profit minus the taxes on that shirt, all of that money, which, guys, we've only raised $88 from t-shirt sales. One of our guys that wanted to, he didn't want his name put out there. He sent $250. He donated. Another guy asked me today about the Venmo. I'll post it to donate. We're going to raise the money. Now, what I found out after I didn't check with nobody. I just said, we're just going to be nice guys. We're going to raise money, give it to them for targets. Well, wildlife don't handle those targets. That comes from NWR, and you can't just give them money or anything. It's blue tape, red tape, bureaucratic shit. So I figured, okay, well then it doesn't look like we're going to raise that much money anyway. I'll just buy coffee and donuts which I think we're going to have to change to the 12th. Maybe.
Yeah.
But if it's 13th, it's the 13th if we're locked in. So they got this fucking bow target at Godwin's. Have you seen it? It's metal.
Oh yeah, like an iron deer. And
It's an iron deer, and it's got the big kill shot, and then it's got the kill shot. Okay. So Jonathan had the idea, why don't we buy that? All right. And then at the deconflict every year and at the measurement after the contest, we set it up. It's, I don't know, $20 for 35-yard shot. Have a contest, one shot. So all these guys that think they're really good with their bow, now's your chance to prove it. We could even open it up or keep it small at 50 yards because that thing's only like 3 inches. If you put it in there, you're crack shot. What are the odds that everybody's going to sink it in there?
0%.
0%. So then you could pay like.
What's that for crossbow guys?
Yeah. No crossbow.
Okay.
Compound only. So you would sign up and you would like a turkey shoot, and you would win 50% of the pot. 50% of the pot we would then take. You would get it. So if we raise $500, you win $250 for your perfect shot, and then the other half we would donate to the skin shed for bags, soap, markers, pens, whatever. You don't have to take it with you. New wheelbarrows instead of dragging that. We don't have to give it to them to buy. We can just buy it and leave it there, right? I can do that. So that's kind of the idea that we had, was taking some of the money because it's like a $300 target, and then we'll set it up for events to raise money for the skin shed.
Yeah,
I wish we had enough clout to where I would really like to raise enough money and be like,
I'd rather just raise the money and buy whatever you were buying. I mean, I get the fun side of that target, but how many people are going to want to spend money to try to shoot it? Because what I do know about them things is when your arrow hits it, it's done.
Yeah.
So you got somebody. Somebody that's,
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Some people shoot cheap arrows. Don't give a shit.
I'm gonna take
people like me that build their arrows and got money in them. And I don't know.
Well, I'm not entering the contest. It's more for fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to raise money. Get guys out there bragging rights. I got it. I won. Just like the fucking tusk.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool, but I would not put one of my. I don't even know what brand arrow I bought, but they were the most expensive ones at the day I was at Godwin's last year. I think one of them was like $50 or something like that. So I don't even know if that's expensive for an arrow, but I was shocked when I got the bill.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I could shoot it, no doubt. I mean, Holloway seen me shoot some other buddies. I mean, I feel like I could do it.
Well, it's Holloway's idea, and I was like, that's a great idea because it's kind of like we take $300 of raised money and invest it, but it kind of keeps giving because it's a steel target.
Yeah.
And then we can always have like a turkey shoot.
It's an idea, no doubt.
Yeah, you don't like it?
I probably wouldn't shoot it.
Why?
I just don't want to bust an arrow if I don't hit it.
What if I give you the arrow?
Well, then it might not shoot right off my bow because it's different weight.
Wow, you're that technical.
Oh yeah, I'm just like Steven and them. I have super tune. I got a bow shot.
Oh, you paid Steven $500 to get your super tune too?
No, I did all my shit myself. I got everything Godwin's has got, minus some of the accessories. But damn, I got a lot of accessories too. So
you wouldn't have like, okay. In order for you to make that shot, never mind that it's for charity. Take one of your other bows and put a cheap arrow with a field point that you've tuned specifically for that contest. You're telling me you couldn't do that just for fun?
Yeah, I might do that.
Or are you the guy that's not going to participate unless that doesn't make sense? You're not going to participate unless you almost know you're going to win, or you have a very, very. It's not fun for you. It's all comp.
I'm a big competition.
I get it. I get that. I didn't even think about that until I said it myself.
I'm not scared to shoot with anybody. I can shoot. Well, but I was just saying.
I think it really is that you're scared that you're not.
What it really is, I don't want to bust an arrow. What it really is.
Okay, I'll buy your arrow. whatever you shoot and tip, I'll buy it for you. I'll cover that.
All right, well,
Unless it's like over $100, then no.
Ah,
All right, we ain't got no more questions, Skip. It's 9:22. We've been
Alright.
going for an hour. We got 2 hours in.
sweet.
We got 19 people still tuned in, so that's pretty good. I'll say this was a successful show, and by numbers, your podcast last year is still our highest rated podcast. But the page grows every year.
Yeah.
We got more people.
And it was during the season, and
yeah.
there was stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and last year was different because me and Brennan had a podcast that kind of just morphed into a hunting podcast, which was going to end inevitably because I left.
Yeah.
And then I come back and I don't have the equipment. Like this is literally like when you leave tonight, this table will get turned around. This desk will get turned that way. Somebody just sent me money.
Cha-ching, baby.
Somebody just bought a shirt. Hell yeah.
Make sure you got funds in that account.
Yeah. Do you remember what happened last? I was like, holy shit, I'm negative. It's hooked to a credit card. I went and paid a credit card off, and I know I'm just leaving it. So it's just, I just pay the credit card off. But yeah, so if you guys, okay, so you notice that I have been putting out reviews. I appreciate everybody that's watched them, check them out, because that promotes this channel. It gets people. I believe we had a guy in here. I think I caught that he's not even from the Fort Bragg Hunt Club. He may have just seen one of the, he saw you climbing to that song that everybody hates now that was dope when it first came out. What was that one? 10 toes in when I'm standing on business. But Jimmy Egerton's view, he got like 30,000 views on his. So
there's a lot of people into that, man. It's good. It's a good market.
Yeah, it's good. It gets it out there.
It's eyes on your channel.
Just promoting. I would love to be in a position to where I could make money doing this. I don't know if it'd be fun anymore. That's the thing I look at. I enjoy this.
Yeah.
I look forward to it. I love, like when Broadside sends me their stand, I'll probably buy it. So I'll have $1,000 or more just in I just love trying new shit out. And I'll be reviewing the Panther. I did the what did you think about it? I know you don't want to switch and you want to be in a climber, but what were your thoughts on the Osprey, the whole system? You climbed it, you took to it right away, obviously.
Yeah. I mean, I really, stupid as it looks, I really like your little nav stick thing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I know coming down ain't important, but damn, I love to come down. I mean, that's awesome. I mean, like I said, it's a tool, no doubt. There's advantages for it. Especially, like I said, Bragg, not so much all the time. It's just, there's fire breaks everywhere.
Yeah.
But like we were talking, when I go out west, you park beside a highway and you could walk 2 miles one way. I mean,
right.
So there's no other access.
So you want to carry a fucking, and I understand a lot of people get into saddle hunting and then they set the sticks up, and that takes a lot of practice to get smooth. And no matter how smooth you get it, it takes a lot of time. And so they're turned off by that. But walking 2 miles with a fucking climber on, that's gotta suck when you can just, that one right there, or even the Panther, I think is probably,
so the Osprey.
That's the Osprey. That one's a little lighter.
So the Osprey, for people who are like me, a climber guy, I mean, it's no different than country with your climber. You just don't have a top platform to sit your ass on. You just use your hands. I mean, but literally, if you can climb with a climber, you can climb with that. And hooking your mav stick up there, that's simple. I mean, it really is. Like I said, I wanted to go out there. Not that I had any interest in it. I just wanted to check it out.
Just try it. Yeah.
I mean, it is fun. Yeah. If you want to do something different, it is fun. You're not climbing a tree doing that shit like that.
What did you think now when you were hooked in, you're standing there and you're imagining that you're hunting, you couldn't see an advantage over a climber because you're closer to the tree? You can kind of get in the cover better. You can get into it.
Like I was telling you with that, not many people do it anyway. I do it more than most, but like long all day. Well, I didn't say all day, just long sits in general.
Yeah.
I can see where you would need extra accessories.
Yes.
To maintain comfort. I think you could not have no experience in it. Take that thing, get up at a tree. I think you could last 2.5 hours without issue before you start getting a little restless or something. But then, like you said, they got all different accessories that could get you more comfort.
You have to want. It's almost like you have to want to do it because your first couple experiences with are miserable. especially when you like. I went with the tethered brand because that's like the Godfather. That's like the Sitka, I guess the mentality is. But I couldn't find a comfortable saddle, so I
And
just
then me, man. I scout first, so
yeah
I know exactly what tree I'm
yeah
going
before
to.
you go in.
I don't like walk. I don't like scout my way in and then hunt. Like I said, I don't like hunting on hope. So when I go somewhere, I want to know
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I'm there and where I need to
Yeah,
be.
I just think that
I like
I
to.
just kind of envision. So you haven't even you
I
tried one of them,
I
but
just picked them up and tinkered with
and
them. You know,
you like the Panther.
that panther should be legit.
Yeah,
I'm not down talking that,
no that one is very light. That's very mobile.
but
This one is more for like Fort Bragg.
I think that right there would be better than the Osprey. Um, man, it's just like you said, when you're holding it and you're actually playing with both of them.
Yeah.
This one right here, like if you've never used either one of them, like have no experience, and you just right now you came in here and you messed with them, I think 9 out of 10 people
Would go with that
would
one.
go with the
Yeah.
Panther
Yeah.
first,
Right.
and then they would say, "Well, let me see what that was about." But
Yeah.
9 out of 10
Yeah.
people are going to go.
See,
with
I like that one.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan of the Lone Wolf because it's so light. But actually, I mean, that's a big platform, but you picked it up and what is it? It's just under 6 pounds.
Yeah, the weight ain't a
Yeah,
concern. It really is
yeah, yeah,
not.
yeah. And that band, I see.
That's what I think is the best part. Like I think both of them structurally is solid.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, you're going to use them the same way, but I just think this one right here, I think it's more user
So
friendly.
what you need to do is on a day where the barometric pressure and the wind is not in your favor, you need to take that out.
Yeah,
Take it out and try it. See how long you last in it and see.
yeah, man.
I mean, so that's what I got them for. I mean, like I said, I don't get paid from these companies. My hope is to get enough subscribers to where they'll send me gear
Yeah, yeah.
to test out, and then I ain't got to pay for it because I'm a guy that's gonna. If I really want to try it and it's new, I'm gonna pay for it. And I don't, sometimes I can't. But there's a lot of things that I want. So if they'll send it to me, I can try. I can get you to try it.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
you'll
yeah.
buy it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then that's good for them.
Yeah, you'd be like a sales rep on
Like a sales rep, but just pay me in gear. You ain't even got to give me no money, son.
I hope you get a
Yeah.
plug with some camo.
Oh, me, yeah. I'm gonna tell you. Speaking of camo,
You know, to get guys to actually, man, look, when you get something and actually mess with it for a little bit,
yeah,
before without having to buy it to do that,
yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
it will help. It will sell.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm not saying to go heads over heels selling,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
if let's just say you guys like Sitka so much, if you got different layers of Sitka, thicker stuff, thinner stuff, and people actually got to put their hands on it
and try it, and then they would stop with the fucking it's just a name.
Yeah, because you can't.
My
do
favorite
that
is
at the
it's
store.
made in the same. It's the same thing. No, it's not. It may be made in the same factory, but that shit's made on the first floor. This is on the fifth.
Yeah,
You can tell the quality.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that goes into a lot of guys. Sometimes if they're not willing to, they're not allowed to spend the money on it. And rather than just say, my wife, be honest about it, or hey man, I have guys who said, hey, I'd like it, but I can't afford it. I get it. I get it. It's expensive. I couldn't afford it when I started buying
it. I got it all, man. I got Sitka, I got Osceola, I got First Light, Huntworth. I mean,
right. How is Huntworth? I was looking at it the other day.
It's the second floor.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, the patterns are spectacular.
Yeah.
But
I don't really care about like this year. I'm hunting more solids.
It ain't. It's true to fit. It's got a little bit more of the Walmart poofiness. I mean, like I said, the patterns are legit, and it's got good material in it. But it's
single stitched.
Second floor.
It's not, and the zippers are like YKK.
Yeah,
that's important because
man.
if I spend $80, hell, if I spend $50 on a pair of pants, I don't want them to rip the first time I fucking take them up a tree.
What are them pants? I know Sitka's got them. They got like this burlap kind of.
They got like the Cordova.
Yeah,
I think
rocky.
Yeah, it's like for walking through brush. Yeah.
I got some of that, and I got some of that on Huntworth, and the Huntworth stuff. I don't know, man. It's not as flexible. It's literally, it's just not as flexible, man. It's
well, the guy that does my logos, he's Nate Labe. He's the one that did the. Matter of fact, Nate, if you're watching this,
you're saving about $80.
Yeah, and you're gonna lose money in the long run because, like Steve said, you're good. My Sitka pants, the ones that you see me wearing all the time, I've had those since 2017, 18, whenever I first bought them. It was 5-6 years ago, and they're still holding up.
Yeah.
The zippers still work. They're not ripped. And y'all fucking see, I hunt a lot the last couple of years.
That's how
especially
my
last year.
Osseo is, man. I've had it for a long time. Nothing's broke. Customer service is top notch.
Yeah.
I mean,
so let me get Nate Lave, the guy that does my logos. He did all the logos you see for the How Copy and for this. And I asked him last week to redesign the banner on our Facebook. It's got the It's been there for a while. I'm like, well, he's a professional now. He did that when he was in school. Now he's a professional, but he's got a camo design that he made himself. And at first, I looked at it and it looked like every other like digital type.
Yeah, like
but the more you look at, I'll send you a picture of it. The more as you look at it, it changes. Like your eyes play tricks on you. So every time I don't know if he did that on purpose or maybe my eyes are getting bad. But at first I was like, yeah, it's cool. But it didn't pop at me. And he's got them in different shades. And it's like one's like almost like the Sitka subalpine, those greens and browns and blacks.
I got that.
But it changes.
Matter of fact, it's the only Sitka pattern I got. I don't have the elevator.
You don't have the elevator?
I got all subalpine.
Yeah. I have both.
And I wear
mainly
Ohio
elevated.
a lot because when we go up there, it's October and the leaves are yellow, green, orange. It's just different up there.
Well, I think the elevated was designed. It's called elevated for a reason because when a deer looks up, he's masking you against the gray sky.
Absolutely.
So I mean, and that's all been.
Absolutely.
It's all been.
Oh, I like the way it looks.
There's nothing. There's nothing's gonna beat sitting still and being quiet. But camouflage does help, or else we wouldn't be fucking wearing it. It's not just all cool.
My granddaddy killed him.
Yeah. No, your granddaddy was a shitty. Your granddaddy got drunk. He chain smoked fucking Winston's in a wooden stand over a pile of corn, and that fucker smoked everything that came out.
My granddaddy killed him out the window on the game. he wore jeans and a flannel. He never got out.
Yeah.
Choked on a wad of red, man. That's what he did. Yeah. I'll never forget. He had a speed cut boy. We driving around, had a big old chow.
Everybody's granddad killed more deers than you've ever seen. Well, it's like Cliff. I was joking with him, but he posted a picture of what's Bear? What's his name? Max? I don't remember who's Bear? The Bear Bows?
Yes, Fred Bear.
Fred Bear. He's got like a little spoon and crock pot deer.
Yeah.
And he was like, he posted it. I was like, look at that little ass deer. You could be the king of deer hunting if you killed everything that walked out too. And he's same thing. We should all hope to kill or see half the deer he's killed. I'm like, well, you could if you killed everything that walked out. I was just fucking with him. But all right, Skip, let's wrap it up, man. I got to piss really bad. I've been holding it. I appreciate you coming on, man.
We'll do it again one day.
All right. Yeah. Anytime you want. Put it this way, if you want to come on, whoever's up next, I'll kick them off. No, I won't really do that. But you want to come on just anytime?
I'll reach out to you.
All right. We are